Good morning, everyone. So, in the last class, we are trying to discuss with you the simple example on the message, and later we are trying to work on the architecture. So, like Haven architecture is nothing but we are trying to find out the core interfaces here. So, what are the core interfaces we identified here? So, basically, we need to understand these are the three interfaces are like very important interfaces here. So, what are the three interfaces are important here? The first one here, session and transaction query. So these three interfaces are going to perform the code operations here. So it's nothing but we try to work on the insertion or like loading an object or deleting an object or updating any existing object here. So these interfaces are going to play the code operations information here. And so these are the interfaces are going to work on the business model objects information. So it's nothing but based on our model classes here, we are going to work on this CUD operations here. And later you can observe, so one of the important class here. So what is the one of the important class here? Something called configuration. Configuration. Cutting the point. So what exactly is this particular configuration will contain here? So based on this particular, the Hibernate CFG file, whatever the information we are specifying in the configuration file, so using this particular configuration file, what happens this configuration object, so which is going to create a connection between the database object to the particular application. So wherever we are trying to use this particular configuration here, what it will do, so it's going to make the relation between, databases here. Getting the point. So these also very important section. So you can imagine, so this is our database here, and this particular configuration is going to make the connection between our database with our application code. And same way, as we discussed in the last example, we are having some of the callbacks here. We are having some of the callback interfaces. What exactly this particular callback interfaces are going to do? So basically, so before updating an object or after updating or after inserting or before inserting, so if we want to know some operations information, so how we are going to identify using this particular callbacks here. So what are the callbacks we are having here? So first one, interceptor. So first one is the interceptor, and the second one, life cycle. So life cycle is nothing but how we are like we are going to identify the object here, how exactly the object is going to create internally, how this particular object is going to destroy. So these are the sections we are going to discuss inside this particular life cycle here. And so if we want to make any validation purpose, we are going to work with validatable. Getting the point. So these are the three interfaces we are going to call as a callback interfaces. Right. So this we'll see in our upcoming classes, like how exactly this particular callback interfaces are going to work. And finally, we identify user type. So basically, the type also very important here. Whenever we are trying to work with the Java data type here, based on this particular Java data type internally, so the particular column also is going to change here. So for example, so we use in the previous example like string and long here. But in the table, cutting the point, in the message table, if you observe, the first one is identified with the serial and the second one we identified with the varchar here. Based on this particular data type internally, the appropriate database or data type is going to change it. So because of this particular user types here. So this is also we are going to identify whenever we are trying to work with the custom data types here. Right. Now, along with this, so first we need to understand the business layer. So to understand this particular business layer, first what we need to do, so let me change this. Here I am going to create our business layer as well as this particular persistence layer here. So to work on this particular persistence layer, what I'm going to do, first we'll check with the business layer information and how this particular business layer is going to work. So observe, so I'm going to add, so inside this particular business layer, so what exactly, so which we are going to identify for. The first one here, life cycle. So life cycle is nothing but how this particular object is going to created and how will the particular object is going to destroyed it. And later, so if we want to provide any validations, what we are doing is we are trying to work with a validatable. So once this completed here, we are going to work with persistence classes. So persistence classes is nothing but the model classes, like whatever the model classes they are going to create. So those classes are going to communicate with the database to store the data. So those classes we already identified, they are going to call as a persistence classes. So simple example, model classes we can call it as a persistence classes. Getting the point. So these are the persistence classes and interceptor. So what is the meaning of this particular interceptor here? Getting the point. So interceptor is nothing but we need to understand here how this particular object is created. So that's nothing but the callback information. These are the callback interfaces. So we need to understand very carefully here how this particular business logic is, how this particular business layer is working. So this section we are going to call as a business layer here. And now we need to understand here, observe. So let me write the callback interfaces here. The first one, interceptor. And user type. Getting the point. So interceptor and user type. So we'll have a simple example on this particular user type and interceptor. So later, but observe. So when we are trying to define this particular business layer, what happens internally? So these two are considered the like. First we are trying to check with the life cycle of this particular object, and later we are trying to perform any validation. So after performing, so this is going to convert it into the persistence class. And once the persistence class is created, what we are going to do? We try to convert into the particular data type information here. So using this particular interceptor here, we are going to identify how this particular object is communicating. Right. And same way, the user types. User types is nothing but, so whatever the properties we define, so those properties, how it is converting into the data type here. How it is converting the data this column type here. So this section converted into the user type here. So these are the important information so which is available inside the business layer. So once the business layer is completed, and we are going to work with the persistence layer. So what exactly this particular persistence layer will contain? So inside this particular persistence layer here, we are having first one is session, right? And later, so we are going to work with the transaction, and so we'll try to work with the query, because these are the three interfaces are important to work on the code operations here. And to make the connection here, we are going to work with the session factory and configuration. Getting the point. So this 5 this comes under the persistence layer. So persistence layer is nothing but the particular model object whenever we are trying to connect with the database here. So these are the important information we are going to have. Right. So we'll work on the session and transaction and query. So for the configuration related purpose, we'll try to work on this particular two. One is the configuration class and session factory. Getting the point. So we need to know this particular business layer as well as this particular persistence layer here. So once we understand here, so we can work on the any application here. But these layers are important here, how this particular object is creating internally and how this particular object is converting into the database format here. And once it is converted here, so what happens internally? So directly, so we are going to connect with our database here. Directly we are going to connect with our database. So in our example, PostgreSQL, getting the point. So this is our database here. So these are the very important sections we need to understand, getting the point. So if we are understand very much into this particular interface and so like sorry, not interfaces, business layer and persistence layer here. So we'll try to focus on the core interfaces here. We try to focus on the core interfaces here. So what are the core interfaces we are having? Right. So basically we are having the 5 core interfaces here. So we'll try to focus on the one of like one by one. So let me clear with this particular screen. So we'll try to check with the one more. Here I want to provide the core interface for the 5 core interfaces. First one, session. Getting the point. So basically, without the session, we cannot perform any operations here. So even we cannot insert or we cannot update or we cannot delete and we cannot load the object. Getting the point. So this is important to do. Getting the point. So how we are trying to load, that is a secondary, but with using this particular session interface, like what are the operations we are performing, that is important here. The first one we identified, the CUD operations we are going to understand here. The core 5 interfaces are used into this particular Hibernate application, and what we are doing here, using this particular core 5 interfaces here, we try to work with like retrieving your data or storing this particular persistence object and so controlling the particular transactions here. So these are the information we are going to perform. So in that only, the first one we identified, session here. So basically this is the primary interface and we are going to use in our Hibernate application here. Right. And this particular session, so is a lightweight object here, getting the point. So we can easily create and describe as many objects we want to create and describe. So because of this particular lightweight here, so we are going to create so as much as how many we are required here. Getting the point. And so if we want to work with and each and every request, we can go for this particular system information. And the second one we need to understand something called session factory. So again, session factory is also one of the interfaces, one of the core interfaces we can call. And basically, this observe here, the each database we are going to create one session factory. So this we need to understand here, and how many databases we are going to create in our application. So same, the session factories are going to increase here. Right. So most of the time we are going to work with the one database here. And if we are having one database, so we are going to create only one session factory object here. But from the session factory, we are going to create So how many sessions we want. So because of this particular session is the lightweight, so we can create as many we required here. Okay, back to here. So we identified here how this particular session practice going to coming here. So like how this particular session practice coming, and from the session practice, how we are trying to load this particular session. So in the previous example, we identified here. So session practice or open session. So using the open session method, we are going to load the particular session object here. And the same way, from the configuration object here, we are trying to load the session factory by calling the method called build session factory. Right. So this we need to understand it here. Back to here, another important interface here. So basically, configuration is not an interface here, and we identified here the configuration. So observe here. So I want to provide one more information. Okay. Okay. So basically, configuration is not an interface here. So I thought like we are having the configuration interface which is coming from the Hibernate package, but only the class is provided. There is no interface here. Okay, we need to understand here what exactly this particular configuration is doing internally. Right. So the purpose of this particular configuration, it is used to configure the database information here, which we are going to provide in the Hibernate property file or in a Hibernate configuration file. Right. And along with this, what we are going to do, we'll try to load the mapping documents here. So using this particular configuration object reference here, we'll try to load the mapping information here, where these particular mappings are going to reside here, with the reference of add resource here. So we'll observe the simple exam in upcoming classes here, how this particular add resource method is going to call. And the same way, we are going to have one more method, something called add class. So using these two classes, like two methods here, we are going to work with the mapping related information here. The simple example we provided in the configuration file. So instead of providing the configuration file, so we are going to have the two methods here. So using this particular two methods, how we are going to work with a simple example. So we will have the simple example and upcoming information here. Right. So back to here. Basically, this particular configuration object is going to play the important role here to make the connection between our application and the database here. Right. So this is the main purpose of this particular configuration object here. So back to here. And transaction. So transaction here. So how exactly this particular transaction is going to work? Right. So basically, to work with any transaction related information, we are going to work on this particular transaction interface here. And if we are not getting any exceptions here, so we are going to have an option to commit the particular object information. But sometimes, so we are going to get any exceptions here. If we get any exceptions here, what we are going to do, we'll try to roll back this particular transaction information. The simple example here, whenever we are trying to book any ticket here, so sometimes what happens here, we are going to get a power failure or network failure, or even we don't have it that like amount into the specified the bank. So because of some of the problems here, what happens here, we want to roll back the particular transaction here. If I am not roll back in the transaction here, so the business people they are going to lose the business here. So we'll have a more information on this particular transaction when we are trying to discuss with the Spring transaction. Because Hibernate transaction and the Spring transactions are going to work with the same manner here. And so how exactly the transaction is going to roll back here. But inside this particular transaction, we are going to have different component here. So each component we are going to discuss more when we are trying to discuss the Spring transaction here. But here, simply we need to understand here we are not getting anything like not any exceptions here. So we can commit the changes here. So otherwise we can roll back the current object information here. So simple, this particular purpose, the transaction is going to play the commit and rollbacking manners here. Okay, so back to here, the another one, query and criteria. Query and criteria. So we need to work on this particular two. So basically, these two interfaces are going to play so same purpose here. Getting the point. So query and criteria both are going to play so same purpose here, but so the criteria having some specific manner compared to this particular query here. Right. Basically, so these two interfaces are going to load the object from the database here. Right. But here, these two interfaces are going to load the object with the reference of so written in the SQL or native SQL here. With the reference of here SQL manner or any native SQL manner. So what they are going to do? They will connect it to the our database based on this particular SQL or SQL. They will try to load the object from the database here. But now, so here the query instance, getting the point. So whenever we are trying to create the particular query object here, what happens internally? So we are going to work with the parameters method to bind out the particular condition parameters here. So sometimes what happens internally, we'll try to check with multiple conditions here. The simple condition we identified in the previous example, where ID is equals to something called we made as a true. The ID, how we are going to work with the whenever we are trying to use the query, how we are trying to set the particular ID property. So using this particular query parameters, we are going to set the particular ID parameters. Same way, in the real-time application, we are going to make more than one condition. Whenever we are trying to work with the one-to-many or many-to-many associations here, so here we are going to make more conditional blocks here. The conditional block we are going to use as a query parameter to provide the condition information to the query, the specified the query here. And the same way, when we are trying to work with the criteria, we are going to have methods here. So the criteria also having some of the methods here. So those information we are going to discuss in our upcoming classes here. How exactly the query and the criteria is going to work. So we are having so some specific differences between the query and the criteria. Once we are identified the simple example, so we may get to the clarification between these two interfaces here. But now simple understanding here, these two interfaces are going to perform the load an object from the database here. Right. So these are the 5 interfaces are very important interfaces. Based on this particular interface, we are going to connect it to any database using our Hibernate here. And along with this, we identified here the callback interfaces. We identified the particular callback interfaces here. So what are the callback interfaces we identified? So something called so lifecycle and validatable interceptor. Getting the point. So we'll have a more information on this particular callback as well as the custom types here. Getting the point. So now along with this, we are going to have some other interfaces here. So some other interfaces. So like some other interface is nothing but if we want to provide the primary key generation. So instead of giving an option to the Hibernate, so if we are trying to write with using the Java code, what we can do, we are having one interface here. So let me provide those interface information here. Something called so identifier generator. So this particular interface, so which is going to play very important role here. Getting the point. Using this particular interface, what we can do, we can create a one class and we can implement this particular identifier generator interface. We can provide the custom primary key generation. Custom primary key generation here. So that we identify the automatic primary key generation using the mapping file generator key, the generator tag. Same way, if you are not interested with the Hibernate, you can implement this particular interface and we can provide like how we are trying to provide the primary key generation. Right. So this is the custom custom primary key generation. Same way, dilate. Because whenever we are adding the particular postcase dilate here, what happens internally? So based on this particular database here, the database specific queries are going to generate it. Database specific queries are generated. If you are not interested here, so we are having one abstract class here, something called dilate. So this is a one abstract class here. Now if you want to understand, you can see abstract class. So you can extend this particular abstract class called dilate and you can provide how we want to create this particular, like how we want to generate the database specific queries here. Basically, we are not going to write much code because we are giving an option to Hibernate. So generate the database specific queries here. But sometimes if you are required, we can work on this particular abstract class. Same way, so transaction related information. We are going to have transaction factory and a transaction interface, the transaction manager lookup here. We are having three interfaces here to work on this particular transaction. If we want to provide the programmatic transaction behavior, we can work with the interfaces here. So what is the interface we are having? Something called transaction. So this is not a Hibernate transaction, this is a Java transaction, but we need to work on this particular Hibernate transaction here. So we need to implement this particular Hibernate transaction to provide the programmatic transaction behavior. Right. So these are the very important information we are trying to discuss here. Getting the point. So now what we can do here, using this particular information here, so we'll try to focus on our information here. So how exactly we created in the simple example. The simple example I want to show you one more time here. Here what we are doing is with the reference of this particular configuration, we are going to work with the session factory and the session. And same way, so this particular configuration will have efg dot add resource. Eclipse is not responding. Okay, observe here, we are having add resource here. So this is the overloaded method here. We need to specify where our mapping file is available. So basically the mapping file or configuration files are we are going to create in the class of here. So let me copy the mapping file information. This is not a Spring JDBC, but we want to work with AutoWire, named parameters, so simple JDBC, member service. So this is our Hibernate CFG. So basically, if I'm going to comment here, so carefully observe, if I'm going to comment here, we are going to get an exception. We are expecting to get an exception, right? So basically you can see unknown entity. Unknown entity is nothing but message. Right. So what we did here, we commented inside this particular configuration file, the mapping file information. So now we can observe here, using this particular main class, I'm going to add the resource information like this. The resource information we are going to make like this. So this is the alternative to the particular mapping file. So which we are going to specify it in the no row with a given ID. Basically, based on this particular ID, we don't have an object here. So now we can observe where the select query is generated here. So whenever the select query is generated, we did not get any objects here because of a particular ID. Now you can observe, if I am going to run the same example one more time, now I specify the ID 1 here. You can observe, welcome to Hibernate 1. Getting the point. What you understand here? Whenever we are trying to specify this particular add resource here, we are going to specify the configuration file. So if the configuration file is specified in the class resource here, so directly we can add this particular file information. So that the configuration object is going to look for this particular mapping file in the class path. So if it is available, it will try to load the object from the class path here. And we are having one more here. And here set properties here. So basically, using this particular set property, we can set the Hibernate specific properties here. So that Hibernate specific property is nothing but the first one is a SPM2 DDL and the second one is a dilate, third one is a show underscore SQL. So these are the specific property of Hibernate. And to add those information here, what we can do, we can move on to the system.properties, or we can work with the Java util.properties class. So we'll have a simple example on this particular properties here. So let me move on to this particular properties information. Basically, what I'm trying to provide, efg dot set properties. So this properties are expecting prop object here. Right here, you can create a java.util property and you can specify those properties information. How we can specify? So to understand here, the first one. So properties and properties dot put here. So what I want to specify, Hibernate dot show underscore SQL. True. Getting the point. Now I want to comment out this particular property. I want to comment out this particular property. So if I'm going, so we are expecting to see the SQL query. What happened here? Hibernate dilate must be set when the connections are available. Hibernate dilate must be set when no connection available. Till the session factory dilate factory. So Hibernate dilate. So let me change all the information using this particular property. So Hibernate direct must be set when no constriction available. Okay, so let me add one more property. So here I want to change to the Hibernate direct. If I'm going to run one more time, we need to see so why this particular dialect is not loading. Still we are getting the user must supply the JDBC connection. Okay. So now you can observe whenever we are trying to give this particular property, so which is expecting the high priority here. Getting the point. So now what we need to do, we need to specify all the information as this particular property. So we'll have the simple example when we are going to discuss with the Spring with the Hibernate, because we'll try to focus on the annotation example here. So in that case, we'll specify this all the properties here. So just for understanding here, what I'm doing here, I'm trying to provide this particular property information. Getting the point. So using this particular properties also, we can work with Hibernate example. Let me comment on this particular. Along with this particular mapping here, we are having another important section here. So I want to provide, you can see, so whenever I want to work with this particular new configuration here, so carefully observe here, instead of creating this particular new configuration object and data, instead of calling the particular all the information, so directly what we can do, we can call the build session factory here. So directly we can call the build session factory. So see, add resource I'm calling here. So here, just imagine we are having the resource object. So later, what I'm doing here, so set properties, I'm trying to set the properties. So new properties here, and later you can observe, so build a session factory. Getting the point. So sometimes what happens here, if you are not interested to return the configuration object here, directly we can return the session factory here. Directly we can return the session factory, or you can return the session also. You can return the session also. So this also we can work with using this particular new configuration object here. Getting the point. So this is the one way to define the object information, and this is another way to define the one more object information. So you can see the add resource is going to return the configuration object, and set properties also it's going to return the configuration object. Getting the point. And later we are working with the build session factory. The build session factory is returning session factory object. From the session factory, we are trying to call the session again. So this is also important here. Instead of working with the configuration object, and again with the reference of this particular configuration, we are trying to call the session factory or any session related information. So this is another option. Just for understanding, I'm explaining it. Using this also, we can work with Hibernate related example here. And finally, we identified the resource here. So using this particular resource, we are able to work with the mapping information. And we are going to have one more information, something called add class. So I'm going to comment out this particular configuration information using cfg dot add class. So here we can specify the class information here. So whenever we are trying to specify what is our model class, so using this particular model class here, what happens internally? So we can run the same example. We can run the same example here. Observe. I'm trying to run the same example here. Okay. So whenever I'm trying to add this particular add class here, where this particular mapping is expecting here, now you can see the package important here. So com.java technology, this is up to the package and we created the message here. But now where we created our mapping file here. So we created inside the source directory. Inside the source directory. So this is also very important here. Now you can observe we added this particular mapping file in the source directory. But if I'm going to add a copy into this particular inside the Hibernate folder. So observe the same example. Now we can see, so we are able to get the expected information. Right. So these are the different ways we can work with the mapping information. But now observe, whenever we are trying to specify this particular model class here, Hibernate is going to identify based on this particular model class, so which is going to append with hbm.xml. After appending here, the Hibernate is going to identify whether this particular mapping file is available or not. So if it is not available, we have identified just now, we got an exception here, something called the file not found here. Same way we are going to getting the file. This is important, we need to understand. Whenever we are trying to work with this particular add class here, so name also important here. With the reference of the class name, and we need to provide the extension here, hbm.xml. So then only the mapping file is going to load. So otherwise, the mapping file will not load here. So this is all about the mapping related, the simple example here. Same way, whenever we are trying to work with the different classes here, we can create same like the message class here. And so we'll observe how exactly the configuration information we can work here. Basically, we are having different properties information. So sometimes what happens in the real-time application, we are going to specify the Hibernate configuration information as let me open. Basically, in the real-time application, so sometimes they used to provide the configuration information like this. So VM arguments. Inside this particular VM argument here, what we are going to do, we try to specify the Hibernate properties. So the simple example here, I want to provide -t, so show underscore SQL. Getting the point. Show underscore SQL, we can specify the, so we want to make true or if we want to make false here. Getting the point. So this is we are going to call as a arguments here, the VM arguments here. Based on our requirement, we can change this here. So if we want to show the SQL information, we can make as a true. Otherwise, we can make as a false. So this is the one option to provide the Hibernate information. And another one, what we can do? We can create a property file. So how we created just before here, we can change like this. But whenever we are working with the Hibernate properties in the Java configuration here, what we need to do? Again, we need to restart our server. Again, in both cases, not only here, whenever we are trying to change the debug configuration also, we need to restart the server to affect the current changes here. So this is another option. And the two other options here, we can work with the properties, how we are working right now. How we are working with the right now. So this is nothing but the configuration. So we can go for this particular configuration. We can change the information. So just for understanding here, we are going to have different approaches to work with these properties. And we'll have a simple example on the Hibernate properties. so that we are going to understand how exactly hibernate.properties file is going to do. So to make this particular Hibernate file, what we need to do? Let me add inside the source directory. I want to work with the file here. Hibernate.properties. Hibernate.properties file. Okay, where we are creating inside this particular source directory. Observe carefully. So whatever the properties we configure, the same properties I want to work here. So let me open the desktop here because we are having application.properties. So this particular application.properties will contain, along with the database, string related information. So let me copy it up to the Hibernate configuration information. I want to copy only Hibernate configuration information only. So here we are having JDBC information. So we don't want to work with the JDBC here. We want to work with the Hibernate here. So now you can see database configuration information. Whenever we are specifying hash here, so this is a commented code. It will not execute it. This section is going to ignore here. Okay, now observe here. Instead of this is the driver class name, right? So let me change here how we worked on configuration. Driver class name. So connection dot driver class name. Connection dot driver class name org postgres and connection dot URL. Connection dot URL. And same way connection dot username. Finally okay, connection dot public. So these are the connections here and change the schema with the Hibernate EX. So finally we need to work with Hibernate specific information. So to understand this particular Hibernate specific information, what we can do, here we need to specify Hibernate.html update and dialect. Hibernate.dialect is equals to, so what is the dialect we are having? Finally show underscore true. Right. So these are the configuration information. Here I don't want to call this particular configure. I don't want to call this particular configure. So carefully observe. Let me run the same example. Connection here. Okay, Hibernate. What are they? Unsupported operation, the user must supply the JDBC connection. JDBC connection. Connection driver class or connection. Let me secure the Hibernate. Basically, we don't want to give this particular Hibernate here, but it is giving an error. Oh, good. So observe here, this naming convention also important here. So here we must be follow. I thought like we can give the connection because it is not a specific to the Hibernate. We can work with the connection here. But now without giving this particular Hibernate, which is expecting JDBC, but now I convert into the Hibernate here, so that we are able to see the object information. But now what you need to understand here, so how this particular configuration information is loading. How this particular configuration information is loaded. This is important here. Getting the point. So you must be understanding here, whenever we are trying to work with this particular Hibernate.properties in the source directory, getting the point. Hibernate is going to load the Hibernate properties file. Whatever the properties file will contain, so we'll try to use those files and it will try to connect it to the database here. So these are about the property file, how we are going to connect it here. If we are not using the Hibernate configuration file. So now you can imagine we are not working with the configuration file and we are not working with the mapping file. But the mapping file we need to create here and the configuration property file we need to create. So if I'm going to delete this for Hibernate.csv file, so it's going to execute. So it's going to execute without any errors here. So this is I want to explain here. So any questions regarding about the today example what we are discussing here, the core interfaces and Hibernate architecture here, and later we work with the configuration related information. Okay, so if we don't have anything here, what I will do, so I will try to work with the logging related information here. I want to work with the logging information here. So how exactly, so which is going to work here. So let me add the logging information here, something called log4j.properties. Log4j.properties. So I'm trying to create the log4j.properties into this particular source directory. Basically, I'm not working with any file appender here. So for understanding here, we are going to work with the console appender here. So we are going to understand here how these particular objects are working internally. Right. So let me add those information here. So direct log messages into console. And to understand here what we need to do, so let me add log4j. Okay, so what I will do, I will copy this particular property file from the Google. So because we need to add more information to find out the log4j. So let me load this particular log4j property file. Log4j syntax log4j appender x appender.x. let me check here which one is the I want to copy this. So we'll have a more information on this, but in our upcoming classes, like in the spring, I am going to provide this log4j information. Just for understanding here, I want to copy this. So log appender this. Okay. So this particular log4j appender dot. So is nothing but our sysout we are going to work, and console of appender sysout here, pattern layout here. With the timestamp we are going to work here, and later the root information I want to change to the warning. So we don't want to work with like a warning info with this fine. Okay. So here I want to change Hibernate information. So here one second here I want to connect to my charger. Okay. Back to here. We want to work with the Hibernate information. So to work with this particular Hibernate, what we can do? So log4j dot logger we need to work here, and Hibernate package. So logger dot org dot Hibernate hyphen info. And so you can work with one more here. Here we need to specify the type here. Logout dot log4j logout dot org Hibernate type info. And okay, so these are the enough here. So let me run the same example. So basically we are expecting the internal file of this particular Hibernate. No. So we are not getting anything here. So why we are not getting here? Let me check here the Hibernate here. So org Hibernate only we are having. What happened? Org Hibernate. Okay. No. Okay. Log4j appender. Could not find the value of log4j appender as subsist out. Okay. We are getting an error here. Could not find the value. Basically, I provided here why it is not loading here. Root logger is provided again. Warning at least pen. Okay. Append. Sorry. Here we miss log. So let me run one more time. Yes. So we are having spelling mistake here. So the L is missed here. So now you can observe in the information level we are having so this much information. Getting the point. So I want to provide this information in our Monday class. So how exactly the Hibernate is working internally? Getting the point. So what is the environment and each and every information we are going to discuss here. Okay. So just for understanding here, I'm trying to connect with the log4j here using this information, using this particular information here. Right. So any questions regarding our today's session? Yeah, you can. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So if we don't have anything, we'll try to conclude the today class and we'll continue Monday. And so one day we are going to discuss this particular log4j information. So don't worry. Just for our understanding purpose, how it is working internally. So to understand more information regarding this particular Hypernet, we created this particular log4j file. Okay. So like how exactly the log4j router logger will work and what exactly this particular appender and how many appenders we are having. So those we are going to discuss in our upcoming classes here. Right. So we'll continue on Monday.
Hello.